Hey guys, welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today's video is going to be the start of a brand new series called Fix Your Wix. Basically, I'm going to be taking a subscriber website and completely redesigning the homepage. Not only does this give me the opportunity to show you guys more web design and cool tips and tricks you can do within Wix, but it also gives that subscriber a brand new homepage design. So if you're interested in being in a future episode, be sure to subscribe and follow the link in the description below. Let's go ahead and get started. For today's episode, we are going to be doing a website for an architectural design student. Here is his website that he designed. There's a lot of potential with this, but I have some ideas that we can help really make this website look really cool. First thing I want to do is change the header design. So I want to select the header and I kind of just want to make this white or an off-white. So we'll go to background and let's do like an FA. You can see the hex code for that right there. And then we'll lower the center background, so the opacity for the center background so it's not in the way. Next thing I want to do is make the header 100 pixels high. So we'll come over to the toolbar, select height and change it to 100, just like that. And then inside the header, we have kind of like his logo in a way over here, and then he has a menu. So what we want to do is first make these a different color so they show up. And then for the menu, we'll go ahead and click the menu, press design. And we're just gonna choose this horizontal menu right here, not the one with the lines in it. And then we'll customize the design. For the color, we're gonna make sure it is like this dark gray. For hover, we will make it this green color, and clicked will also make it that same color. And for the font, we're gonna leave it as Barlow Extra Light, just like that. So if we click on the strip inside the header, we're gonna notice it was split into two parts. However, if we click on this text, we're gonna notice it overlaps the guidelines that we want to keep content inside of. So for this, we can go ahead and click the column, press manage column, then we'll press layouts, and then we can customize the proportions of this column cut. So we're probably gonna do something like 60-40. Next, let's go ahead and press edit on the text. We'll align it to the left, and then we'll bring it all the way to the left, and then we'll use the shift and right arrow keys to move it right 20 pixels. And now I'm gonna make sure the strip is the same height as the header, just like that. And if we look at the menu, contact is now missing, so we can go ahead and expand this out a little bit so contact shows, and then we're gonna bring it down so it's centered on the header. And under this text over here, I kind of want to add some text, so I'm just gonna copy this text right here. We'll do something like this. For architecture design, we'll align it to the left, we'll shorten up the text element, and we'll bring it into the header. And we'll put it right under his name. Now let's go ahead and press edit text again, and we will lower the font size to 14, maybe 16. And then we're gonna come down to character and line spacing. And then we're gonna come down to character spacing, and we're gonna space it out quite a bit. We need to first make sure that the text element is long enough, and then we can continue to grow it out to right about there. Now I'm gonna select both of them and group them, and then we're gonna come over to the toolbar and align it to the middle of the header, just like that. And now the header is complete. Okay, next thing we need to do is the hero section, which is basically the main image and tagline that the user sees first on your homepage. So I'm gonna start by dragging this one down quite a bit. I'm gonna come over to add, we'll go to strip, classic, and we'll drag out this white one right here. We're gonna make this one 800 pixels high. So we'll come over to the toolbar, go to height and type in 800. And then what we want to do is go to layouts. We're gonna add a column. Then we're gonna come over to layouts again, and we're gonna set this one to be about 3366. And over here in this right column, let's go ahead and change the back column background to an image. And the cool thing about this student is he has tons of 3D renders that are perfect for this website. So we'll go ahead and choose one and set it to the background. And then of course, we're gonna go down to background scroll effect and choose parallax. The next thing I want to do is add another strip. So we'll just drag it out right here. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove the background color. And then we're gonna come over to layouts, and we're gonna align it to the left, just like that. and we're going to bring it up right over this image. And then we'll go ahead and change the height to about 500 pixels. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add a box. So we'll go down to add box, and we'll just drag out this white one. And we'll make it fairly large, just like that. And we'll change the background color of this to make sure it matches the background of our page. And then we're just going to add the content from in here into this little box. Okay, and we'll make it look just like that. The next thing I want to do is add another strip. We'll add it right below. We're going to make this one quite large, almost like 800 pixels. And then we're going to bring it up just to where it hits that button, the top of this button right here, like that. We'll go ahead and remove the color for that background. We'll press layouts. We'll add a column. Then we'll press layouts again. And we're going to make this about 27 pixels, just like that. And then we're going to add a background image right over here. And then as you can see, this strip is on top of this one. So what we want to do is grab this strip. We'll come over to the toolbar, go to arrange, and we'll bring it to the front. And then we'll click this strip, we'll click this column, and we'll set the background scroll effect to parallax. And now we're kind of getting this really cool staggered image effect, just like that. Before I finish up on the hero section, I do want to add maybe like some social icons to the left. So we'll go to social, we'll drag out this gray one right here. Okay, and we'll just bring it down so we can edit it real quick. We're gonna go ahead and remove Pinterest and Tumblr and press OK. Then we're gonna go to layouts. We're gonna make this maybe like 30 pixels, and then we're gonna make this a vertical. And now we're gonna bring this up into this strip, and we're gonna align it with the top of the text, of this main text, like that. And we'll go ahead and bump it over using the shift and left arrow key to be about right there. And now that we've created the header, we can go ahead and delete this one. The next section is going to be his About Me section. And we're going to go ahead and put the About Me right here. So of course, the first thing we need to do is add a new strip, because we're going to put all of our content inside of strips. We're going to make sure the background color is set to this FA one. Perfect. And we're going to set the height of this to 500 pixels. The next thing we want to do is add his image. So we'll go to images, and then we're going to shrink it down. And what we kind of want to do is line it up with the edge of this image. And we can fix this up a little bit later. We'll put it right there. And then what we want to do is grab this text and button. We'll copy it. We'll bring it up to this section and we'll paste it in. Next, let's go ahead and grab the text. We'll press edit text and we'll align both of them to the left. And then we'll drag them up. Okay, now let's get everything and make sure it's lined up to the center of the image. And then we're going to go ahead and grab everything, including the image, and press group. Now that that is set, we'll go ahead and move this up until it connects with the bottom of the hero section. And then what I actually want this strip to do is line up with the bottom of this image. So we'll go ahead and shrink this up a little bit, just like that. So this is what we have so far. So now that we have the About section done, we can go ahead and delete this section. In the next section, it looks like it's going to be his work. So the next thing we need to do is add another strip, bring it right under the About section. And for this strip, we're only going to make this about 150 pixels large. And then we're going to split this into two columns. And then we're going to do a 3366 split, but then we're going to reverse it just like that. Next, let's click this left column, press layouts, and align it to the right. Now, ideally what I want is for this guideline to match up with this corner. So let's go ahead and press manage columns, layouts, and we're just gonna kind of bump it over a little bit and click it. And it looks like it's pretty much aligned. We could play with it a little bit more, but we're not gonna mess with it too much. And then what we want to do is add a title here. So I'm just gonna come up here and grab this text, copy it, come down below and press paste. And then we're gonna say mi trabajo, just like that. And then we're gonna bring it into this strip and make sure it aligns with the image, just like that. And then next, he has some text and a button. So we'll go ahead and grab those and we're gonna put them over here in this column. So we'll press paste, bring them over just like that. Now obviously this text color needs to be changed to something dark. And this button, I kind of just want it to match with this one. And to save time, I'm just gonna copy this one. And then down below here is where we're gonna put his work. For this one, we're actually not gonna use a strip. We're actually gonna use something called a repeater. So if we go to add, list and grid, we'll go down to this one and we'll pull this one out. Just like that, we'll center it up. And then we're gonna press this little stretch icon and then toggle it to stretch the full width of the screen. And then we're gonna come over to layouts and we're gonna add 30 pixels of spacing between each of these items. Next, let's go ahead and delete all of the content inside the repeater. And then now we can go ahead and start editing. So the first thing I want to do is just change the background for each one of these. So we'll choose an image and then we'll just show off some of his work by selecting images of his work. Okay, now I had just finished putting in images of all his work. And the cool thing about repeaters is each item in the container can be used as a hover box. So the first thing we're going to do is click on an item in the container. We'll click hover interactions and get started. Now we can add stuff to this hover box. So we're going to go to box. We're just going to add a black box. And then we're going to stretch it to the full width. And we're going to come over to the toolbar, make sure it's aligned to the left and align it to the top. That way we can see what we need to change. And as you can see, for all of these items, the black box is covering everything. But we're going to go over to design, customize design, and we're going to lower the opacity to 50. Okay. Next thing we want to add is some text. So we'll just drag out something like this. Obviously we want to make the color white, or maybe this off-white that we've been using for the site. And then we want to make this maybe 30 pixels, 26 pixels like that. And this is going to be the work title. So it's going to be the title of his work. And then we're going to come over to button and we're going to drag out a button. And all we really want to do is make it look like his other buttons up here. But for this one, we actually want to make it white because the green would not show up too well. And then what I like to do is just bring this to the bottom left. Use the shift and right arrow key to go over 2 times and then up 2 times. And then we'll make sure the text is basically on top of it. And we'll use the shift arrow key 2 times to bring it up like that. And before we finish this up, I do want to add some cool hover effect to it. So I'm actually going to bring down this black overlay a little bit, click the background, and we're going to choose effect, and we're going to select grow. But we're going to customize it so it's only about 105% like that. And then next, let's go ahead and bring this back up. Okay, so now if we preview, I don't know why these are yellow. They're not supposed to be yellow, but on this one, we can see it's white. It kind of gives this a really cool effect. Okay, and below the repeater, I want to add another strip. And this one's just going to be for spacing. We're going to make this one about 100 pixels high, and we're just going to leave it like that. And now that we're done with the work section, we can go ahead and delete his work section. The next thing he has on his website is his contact information. However, I kind of want to add one more strip, and in here we're going to put in his process. So we're going to go ahead and make this one 600 pixels high. We're going to change the background to one of his images. And I really like this 3D render image like this. We're going to set a parallax scroll effect to it. And then we're also going to add a little bit of an overlay. So let's see what 60% looks like. Maybe a little bit more, maybe something like 25 will be good. And then we're going to select layout and we're going to align this one to the left. So now I'm just going to add a little small title text and some paragraph text so he can explain his process. Okay, and what I want to do is make sure it is kind of lined up with this repeater item. And then we're going to bump it up 2 times or 20 pixels. And like I mentioned before, the next section he has is his contact information, but honestly, I feel like we can just put that in the footer. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just delete this section, and we're going to make the size of the footer maybe about 400 pixels like that. We're going to go ahead and delete this image. We're going to change the design to that off-white. And now what I want to do is add his logo from the header here. I also want to add a little paragraph and his contact information. And we'll go ahead and make it look just like that. So here we have his name, what he does, a little small paragraph about what he does, and then his contact information. And over here to the right, what we want is a little vertical menu. So we'll come over to add, go down to menu, we'll go to vertical menu, and we'll just drag this one out right here. We'll go to layouts and we'll align it to the left. Then what we're going to do is design, and we're going to customize the text so it is Barlow extra light. And then we're going to lower the font size to about 14. Okay, and then if you want, you can change the hover and clicked colors. And then we're just going to bring it over just like that. And then we're going to use our shift and left arrow key to bring it over 2 times. The reason I keep doing that is because if you have your text or content right against this line, then on tablets, this is what you're going to see. You're just going to see the content squished right up against the edge of the screen. So to prevent that, we always just do 20 pixels away from these guidelines. And of course, we can always add some cool effects like animation. So if we add some animation to this text, we can fade this in. Maybe we can fade this entire section in, or maybe we can have it slide in like that. For this title, we'll go ahead and add just a fade in. We'll go ahead and fade this one in, just like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a strip into the footer, and then we could split it in half, and then add content here and add the menu over here to make it more wider. So let's go ahead and do that before we finish up. So we're gonna go to strip, classic, and just bring it out like that. Then what we're gonna do is come to layouts, add column, and then all we really want to do is bring in the content from the footer, bring it in here just like that. We'll make sure everything is centered, and then we'll bring the strip down into the footer. So then if we preview the site, here's what it's gonna look like. It looks really awesome. But of course, before we actually wrap up the video, of course, we still have to do the mobile design. So let's go ahead and click mobile, and this is what we are gonna see. So the first thing we want to do is fix the header. So we'll come into the logo and we'll lower the size of it just a little bit. And then we're gonna bring this menu up into this one right here. Okay, now the header will look like this on mobile, which looks really clean. And then the next thing we want to do is start editing the page. So if we go back to desktop and we look at this top strip in the hero section, we're gonna notice it is split into 2 columns. When we switch back to mobile, we're gonna see the columns are now stacked vertically. So we don't need this one at the top anymore. We're gonna double click on this column and press hide element. And I'm gonna go ahead and shrink this one to about 300 pixels in height, just like that. If we scroll down, we have the other content we have in the header. But honestly, we don't really need this social bar, so we'll go ahead and hide it. And then what I really want to do is grab this container box and bring it up just a little bit like that. And you can see it went behind, so what we want to do is click the strip, come over to arrange, and bring to front. So now this is what we are going to see. And then we can go ahead and edit this so it's not so big. For mobile, you really don't want stuff too big, so just keep that in mind. And then we're gonna go ahead and edit the button design. We're gonna make sure that the font size is about 13 pixels. And then obviously for some reason it's Avenir on here instead. So we're gonna switch it over to Barlow. And then we're gonna shrink this down quite a bit. So we're probably gonna do about 110 and then 35 in height. And then we're gonna make sure that the font size of each paragraph is only about 13 pixels. And then we can bring it in a little bit to make it look a little nicer. Okay, so I made the text a little bit bigger for the title, the main title. I think I want it over to the left a little bit, just like that. Okay, and then we're gonna bring up this strip, just like that. We'll delete this empty space. And then this column is 200 pixels, which is perfect. The second column, of course, we don't need it. And then below that is the about section. So we'll go ahead and delete this empty space. So what we want to do with this image is bring it up to where it's 280 pixels wide, just like that. It's actually a little bit too big, so we'll go ahead and shrink it down. And then we'll grab the text and just bring it down right underneath. And then of course this paragraph text, we need to make sure it is 13 pixels. And then for this button, we need to make it 110 width, 35 height. That way it's consistent with the rest of the site. We'll bring it right underneath the paragraph and we'll press down on the arrow key 2 times while holding shift. Okay, and now is the work section. This title is okay. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller if you want. For this example, we'll just leave it as is. Then we're gonna come over to this paragraph text and we'll shrink it down to where it's 13 pixels. And then we'll follow the same steps for this button. And now we can get into the work part. So what I wanna do is actually raise these up to where they're about 190 in height. And then we need to come over to the hidden elements. And if we scroll down to from hover interactions, we're going to see the text, button, and container. So let's go ahead and show all of them. Okay, what we're going to do is align these to the left. We'll shrink all of these down, okay, and we'll make it look like that. Unfortunately, hover interactions do not work on mobile, of course, because you don't have a mouse to hover over stuff. Mobile and tablets are just a click system. So this is just a workaround, but it works just fine. And then we can come down below here. We don't need this strip anymore. And we can delete the empty space. And then we can just leave this as is. But of course we need to make this sure this size is only 13 pixels, just like that. And then now it's time for the footer. So we'll bring this up just like that. And we really don't need a menu down here for mobile, so we'll just hide this second column. Now what is missing is maybe his contact information. So we'll go ahead and press show element, and then we will make sure it is aligned to the left, and we'll add a little bit of spacing below it. And then of course we need to add some animations to mobile. So we'll go ahead and click all the elements that we want to add animations to. We'll click animation. We're going to do float in from the bottom. And then for this text, we'll fade it in. For these boxes, we will fade these in. And maybe we can delay it like half a second or something. Alrighty, and this is gonna be our website for mobile. And now we are basically done with the website. So as you can see, we went from this to this. If you guys like the design, be sure to like the video. And again, if you guys are interested in being in a future episode of Fix Your Wix, be sure to click the link in the description and follow those instructions. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing for more content like this in the future. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you all in the next one.